Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities we may have for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, let's start off on the daily. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. I'm zoomed in so hopefully it's clear enough and you can see where I'm pointing with my mouse. I know someone had issues with that recently. So what's this daily chart showing us? Well, as I had mentioned in my previous videos, I do think prices range in a little bit. So if we look over here on DXY, for example, I do think this looks more like a range. Prices yet to break out clearly. Okay, so at the moment the environment is a little bit difficult to read, right? Even here on EU. Now, what I've been saying in my previous videos, obviously, is price took that external liquidity and made a high above these highs. So I've got this MS here, this market structure shift, and then we pull back down to a discount, okay, and then made a bullish move from there. So on Monday we left behind this fair value gap, which I'm going to draw our attention to here. I did expect price to pull up and possibly reject that if we were going to continue bearish. Okay, so that would have been my daily bias for today. However, we clearly closed above it, right? Not even within the fair value gap at all. Having done that now, what I'm thinking is, I don't know if you've ever heard of one, but the concept of an inverted fair value gap, right? Because we've completely passed through that gap, price may now pull back down to it, and this may become a support rather than a resistance. So it may take a day or two to play out, right? We'll see if we pull back into that today, and if we reject it, that could possibly give a bias to actually continue going long and maybe playing out that theory that we have broken structure here, we found some sort of support around here and we can continue going to the upside, right? And if we look over here on DXY, of course, we've mitigated that daily imbalance as well here, right? Closed within it and we were bearish yesterday just like we were bullish here, so we may continue down on that bearish move as well. If I zoom out, of course, we took that same buy side liquidity up here and became bearish, pulled back to a POI, may continue bearish. So in terms of the higher time frame, right, I don't think that it's super clear. I'm going to need more development, but there is the possibility now of this resistance POI turning into a support POI to continue to go bullish, right? Take out some buy side liquidity highs. With that high low, maybe that'll make it a week high and we'll start to form new structure and possibly break out of this range we've got here and this sort of range we've got going on here on EU. In terms of today, I don't have an obvious daily bias except that price may be short-term bearish to pull into this area here that was left behind and was not respected. We haven't taken the buy side liquidity of the previous daily high today. We'll see if we need that. We'll see what the lower time frame looks like. So just to summarize, in more of a longer term, we'll see if this holds out of support. But in the short term for today, we may be bearish in that price may seek out to actually come back into this liquidity void here, this fair value gap, possibly use it as support. So possibly a bearish bias for today. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like for more of a bias. So I did say on Monday, I believe the 4 hour to look fairly bearish, right? We did make a bearish leg. We obviously came back up quite correctively, took buy side liquidity, respected an old order block as well, but buy side liquidity, SMC, and then we started to break down. So we made this low, lower high, lower low, right? So internal market structure shift there below this low. We respected a small imbalance here, small fair value gap here on the 4 hour. Price spiked up above it, but ultimately closed the body candles below respecting it and made that lower low, right? So again, this is where that daily fair value gap was, and also there was a 4 hour fair value gap there. So as we were pulling back, right, with this high low, I was expecting price to use that as a resistance point to continue going lower with that possible bearish move now coming for this sell side liquidity. However, as we have established on the daily, price has just passed right through that, right? We have gone up into an order block, so it's something to look out for resistance. So as I said, in the short term now, possibly this order block here holds as a resistance point for price to be drawn lower, right? We've left behind imbalances below. Okay, they're still kind of in the premium of this overall leg, but let's say if we look at this internal leg as well, right, it is below the 0.5 point here, so that is more of a discount of this internal leg. So that may be a good draw on price to be attracted to, and of course just so happens to be where that daily fair value gap is here, so it can still be inverted. Price can reach down beyond it, right, feel this 4-hour fair value gap or 50% of it, and then continue bullish maybe. There is some alignment between the 4-hour and daily, right? I think we've got a resistance point here, at least for the short term, to come down and maybe mitigate these points here. So that might be a good bias for this morning, especially in London. We have CPI news, inflation news later on in the NY session. So probably won't be trading much of the NY session. If you can see now, we've had that liquidity grab above these previous 4-hour candles, straight into this order block again, right? Since yesterday, didn't take out the previous daily high. Would have been nice to have done that. Price may be drawn down now towards these imbalances here, right, to draw on price. So now this bullish imbalance, right, where there's also a possible inverted daily imbalance and 4-hour imbalance as well, because there was a clear 4-hour imbalance there that was also just passed through. So this area here definitely could become an inverted fair value gap and price could see support there. But like I said, in the short term, I could possibly see us going bearish from this point here. Not the most clarity considering how close these possible bullish POIs are, but it's something for price to draw to. So if we was to get something clear in London to be able to short into that area, it may be worth looking at. DXY has also found that maybe short-term support here as well, with that 4-hour imbalance, and maybe pulling back towards its own imbalance above here, which is the same as this imbalance here. Okay, so price may be drawn in the short term to be bullish on DXY, right, which is bearish on EU into that same zone here, and then we'll see if this provides some resistance on DXY and support on EU around this area here for possible future bullish action, or if we just pass straight through that again. So I have more of a short-term bias, as I mentioned, to go short back down into this area if possible. May need to see more development overall, right? Price isn't the most clearest to me in terms of bias and what it's doing, right? We could have had a better sweep of buy-side liquidity up here for sure, but there definitely is some confluences that can be stacked for price to go lower, okay? Because we have draws on price here, we have an order block here, we already had our bearish legs and shift of structure as I mentioned. Okay, price didn't sweep this low before pulling back, so I wouldn't see this as a strong bullish leg here or anything like that, just more of a pullback personally into this zone. So let's go down to the hourly. Let's see what confluences we can stack there. So here on the hourly, you can see I've drawn out this premium and discount range here, which I've read from this high to this low. All of this is internal to this sweep of buy side liquidity and breakdown market structure shift below this low here, right? So price did pull back yesterday, coming back to this premium zone here from this discount. I did want a long down here, but we didn't get the pullback. Right, there's this 1 hour order block here overlapping with this 4 hour order block. Price has pulled into both. It's still respecting the 1 hour order block, so I'll remove this anyway so it's not too confusing with too many lines. But we have 1 hour order block and that 4 hour order block just behind. Price is rejecting these zones here currently. We have obviously had a bullish open in London going above these Asia highs here. Like I said, it would have looked better to take the previous daily high. We still may get that price action. We'll see what happens. We'd want to see some sort of market structure shift on the lower time frame maybe before being involved in any short in price action. We may not have the space to do that, so we'll see what happens. We're in a premium at the moment. I expect us to seek out some sort of discount, right? So below this 0.5 level here, we'll see what price does in this area with our 4 hour imbalances and daily imbalance as well. We also have 1 hour small imbalances there too. So we'll see if we gain any clarity over the London session I think what I would prefer, even just looking from this hourly, is if we do get another spike up like this, right? So that way we've got a structural low here and we have more room to go short if that's my short-term bias, right? So buy side liquidity, then we get that internal structure shift looking price action, and then we can pull back to trade down into this area here, because I'd be wary of these higher time frame imbalances. Let's go down to the M15. Let's see what an opportunity may look like for today. So regarding yesterday's price action, as you might see, this is the sort of area I was looking for. We had our M15 OB, right? I was looking for price to pull back, but it didn't provide that pullback into this imbalance area here with the order block. It just kept going. So now today, we don't have our structure shift yet on the M15. So as I mentioned, now we are up into this premium zone. We do have our premium order blocks, like you can see here. Price has still got another bullish leg, though it hasn't taken out this news wick here. It would be nice, as I mentioned on the hourly, if price came up, took that buy side liquidity above that current London high, previous daily high, and then we got a shift in structure below this low here, right? And then we get our pullback to our order block with imbalance, right, from that momentum caused by that buy side liquidity sweep, to then trade short back down to our discount area here, 0.5, where we've got our higher time frame imbalances, and also there's this M15 order block here. So if we could get out of the trade before this zone here, it would be pretty good, because I could see some support maybe forming in this area here. So what would this look like? We've got our order block with imbalance there. We've got our extra sweep of buy side liquidity around this zone here. We would have a possible break of structure around this zone here, and then possible corrective pullback, leaving an inducement right below our entry, where we would set our order stop loss just above this high here to go short. Personally, I would take 3%, but towards these Asia lows, you could aim for, right, for that sell side liquidity. Something like this would be a shorting opportunity that I could see happening today, and then I would let price develop and do whatever it needs to do with this zone here, right, for whatever future price action it's going to have. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.